Okay, so welcome to the live Q&A, guys. We've just got a few people joining us now, so we'll wait until a couple more people, come on board here. If you guys can hear me, I just want to do the audio check. Please give me the thumbs up or just comment so I can see it. And we'll jump into a couple of the questions and go from there. Okay, we've got a few more people joining now. So g'day to Ross and Peter and Robbo by the look of it. So, yep, a few people joining in. So thanks very much. I appreciate that a lot, guys. Okay, cool. So everyone can hear. So we'll start off, guys. First of all, there's so much to talk about this month. There's a lot has gone on, not just here, but in the firearm world. So first of all, I'll start off with one question I'm getting a lot of is, is there any more news on Hank? Unfortunately, guys, no, there isn't. It'll be 8 weeks this Thursday. So, yeah, it's look, it is what it is, and I'm still pretty heartbroken over it because he was my best mate. So, unfortunately, nothing. Perhaps one day some information, or someone will maybe take him into a vet if he is still alive. Hopefully, there might be something there. But anyhow, all right. So I'm going to try to go through some of the comments as I go through the Q&A instead of just doing all the questions. So yeah, it's like, Peter says here, that news bummed me. Still no show. Yeah, mate, it hurts a lot. 6 knots. G'day, Aussie. Bought a bag off you. Very impressed. Thank you very much. Look, okay, guys. What we might do is we might kick off this Q&A with, why don't we just do some sort of special, okay? So the bags that I've got left, all right, this is what we're talking about here, is the Gen 2 Aussie Reviews rifle bag, okay? So we've got the oilskin material, we've got the logo branded into a piece of leather, Australian wool inside, carry handles, shoulder strap. You've got a hook there to hook it up like that. Look, normally $119 because I'm getting hit with more shipping. I have only 14 of these left, okay, and then that's it, guys. I doubt I will be getting any more of the Gen 2 bag in this year. So what I might do is we might do an insane sale, hey, on the last 14 for those of you who are interested. How about we do $99 posted? So that's under my buy price just to get rid of the last 14. So if you want to do that, we'll get it set up in the background here, hopefully, to be able to go to the merch page. So aussiereviews.com.au, just go to merchandise, and then you'll be able to purchase a bag for that price, all right? So hopefully that'll get set up in the background there, and you'll be able to do that shortly. So let me just bring the web page up so I can check and see how good my IT guy is. He's pretty good. So hopefully we'll get that set up, okay? And we'll do a bit of a run out sale there, just as a live giveaway, kind of, without giving it away, if that even makes sense. Okay, so let's talk about what else is going on, okay, guys? The gun laws at the moment, WA is in a world of hurt. They're looking at, a third of their firearms being taken. So, it's just insane what's going on over there. But I don't know how many times I have to say it. I mean, look at it. I did that, that last Australian shooter about what, I don't know, 6 odd years ago now. And I was talking about what happens, as they chip away and they take more and more and more. It just bamboozles me that people think they can vote for the majors and retain their firearms without any more restrictions. I mean, that all I'm doing is I just go off the past since 1996, and all we've had is restriction after restriction. So I don't know why people would even think that they're going to suddenly have a change of heart and leave you alone. They'll suddenly get to an amount where they'll be happy. That doesn't happen. They just keep taking and taking. The amount they want is nothing. So, it is a frustrating thing, and I feel for a lot of the guys guys and girls in WA who are suffering loss of their legally owned property. And this is only the start, guys. It'll keep going. They're very much hammering around the laws now. So if they can't change all the laws the way they want it, they'll make it harder. So they'll put PTAs up. They'll make it so that, Australia Post can't deliver, all that sort of stuff, and throw roadblock after roadblock in front of you till you just go, you know what, it's too hard and I'm not going to do this anymore. So, that's how it is. I don't really know much more I can say about WA. One thing I will mention though, guys, is the infighting that is in the shooting world. The amount of people that are basically cucked into believing that these gun laws are for their own good and they should accept restrictions is just to the point where they'll self-regulate themselves and others beyond what even the legislation requires. I just don't understand that. I really don't. And I just think back to the 90s, even the 80s, shooting then. I mean, could you imagine how a lot of those older shooters would be these days if they saw half of us and the way that we all carry on these days? They'd be absolutely appalled. So, I think there's time to legally put that line in the sand and start pushing back. And, when they try to push new gun laws onto you, push back and say, this is an example of how ridiculous your laws are, and then push back to fight to ease restrictions, because enough is enough. That's my view on it anyway. So, yeah, anyhow, guys, all right, so let's just go through a couple of the questions here. Just having a look. Sorry, guys, I'm getting a question here about this website. All right, okay, so the website is going to finish at midnight tonight, and it's online now. Okay, now, so should be all good there. If it's not, just let me know. All right, guys, I've got a little bit of a list to get through here, and who's noticed the old school Aussie Reviews hat going on here? So I had this one as just a demo, and I thought, oh, it's a bit of dust on it, so I put it through the wash, and I thought, well, I'll wear it for this Q&A. What else have we got here to talk about? Ammo availability and ammo prices. Just out of curiosity, guys, I went and I even showed a mate of mine who was over about the prices and the availability. Like if you go to the Federal Premium website and have a look, especially like rimfire ammunition, and the amount of it that is currently unavailable, and then if it is available, limit to 10 boxes only, stuff like that. Prices are going, up and up, and we're basically got a rising US dollar against the Australian dollar. So, it's making things even harder. On top of that, guys, here in Queensland, I did post about this. We had the Vice President of the Queensland Police Union pushing for restrictions, ammo restrictions, very much like New South Wales, and prohibition on calibers, centerfire calibers, and reloading, and basically control of all parts, so registration of all parts of firearms. How that would work in practice is beyond me, but look, that's the way that it goes, and there's going to be more and more restrictions, guys. I tell you, I wish I could find a bookie that would take my bet for that, because I'd be a millionaire overnight. It's going to happen, and we've all got to stand together and push back. Like I say, I won't keep harping on about that. All right. The other thing too, guys, please, check your subscription to me. The amount of people that say they don't even get notified of these live Q&As. Nothing comes up on YouTube. Others, it does come up for them. So please check that. It helps so much when you just give it the thumbs up, a comment. It just helps the whole algorithm that I'm battling against on YouTube. The other thing that I wanted to talk about too was my recent, I guess, renewal with Twitter, or X as it's known as now. Look, I've doubled in subscriptions there basically overnight. Still a long way to go to compare to what I've got here on YouTube. But I tell you what, it is so good being able to be on there and have a viewpoint and not be suppressed. It doesn't matter where your views are, whether they're left, right, up, down, it doesn't matter. If it's legal and you're not hurting anyone, they're more than happy to have your views on there. And I'm really, really enjoying it because you're getting to see so much of what's really going on with whatever interest that you have. So if you haven't had a look at that, guys, please have a look, at Twitter, or X as it's known now that Elon Musk has purchased it, because there's some really good stuff going on there. And I am posting a lot of stuff there as well. So yeah, check that out. Okay, so that's got sort of the preliminary stuff out of the way. Let's jump into a couple of questions, guys. I will start looking on here, but first of all, the priority always goes to Patreon supporters. Apologies to Patreon supporters. I didn't give you guys enough warning. I only gave you a day's notice that we were doing this Q&A. So normally, I'll get several questions, but I only got one question in overnight. So yeah, it's from Wayne. He says, "Hi Ozzy, I heard you talk about a red dot a lot. Just wondering if you could talk about LPVO, or low power variable optic, as well. For example, there is a dot in the middle of the scope of magnification of about 1:6. Is this dot the same as a normal red dot? Is LPVO appropriate for varmint control or farm applications, or more suitable for bigger game? Thanks." Okay, mate. So yes, I do talk a bit about, the red dots, don't I? Because, doing contract shooting, that's all I had on my Ruger SR556, and it's all I had on my Ruger SR762. Even now, here on the farm, on my Guncraft AR 22 Magnum, red dot on that, shooting out at those hunting distances of 75 to 125 yards, no problem at all. I mean, I can hit, basically a rabbit head size at those distances. So I think, do I need anything more than that? But those low power variable optics are, variable optics are really good, in the sense of, if you get a quality one, the only trade-off that you're going to have is with most red dots, you've got that unlimited high relief, where obviously if you go to a scope, you're not going to have that. Okay, so the acquisition might not be as quick. So depending on which one you get, okay, if you're wanting to shoot out to a little bit of a distance, and like you say, maybe like varmint shooting, something like that, where you want to basically get that finer shot, absolutely perfect for that. So a lot of them too, like if you go to their website, it will show you at the, like, say, max power, what that actual dot is in the middle of it, in terms of either mils or MOA, what size it is. Okay, and sometimes you do get some options there with the actual reticles. So for example, if you look at Carl's or Cullis, yes, I know it's expensive. You'd be looking at about sort of $2.5 to $3 depending on which model you get. They've got a 1:6. There's also a 1:8 that they've just come out with now. They've got a couple of different reticles, and you can choose the difference between mils or MOA. So yeah, it's really up to you and which way you want to go, mate. But great optics. I find a 1:6 perfect. I mean, for years I had, even on my Anschutz 223, a Schmidt and Bender 1:6 by 42. Perfect. Everything out to 200-300 yards, like you could shoot no problem at all. And this is what I find with a lot of people. I've said this so many times, is you've got to remember that it wasn't that long ago that the US Marines were qualifying with 308s at 1,000 yards with a fixed power 10 by scope. So if you can't hit something at 200 yards with a 6 power, for example, there's something seriously wrong in my view. So always remember that. I'm not a massive fan of very, very high magnification scopes, unless, of course, you're in those sort of competitions where you're shooting out to those very extended ranges, and you want to get obviously the best score that you can achieve with your setup. Okay, so I hope that answers that one. So let's go to a few questions here, guys. Jono says, "Hey Ozzy, have you got any info on the new Lithgow rifles coming out soon?" No, mate, I don't. I'm sorry. So feel free to talk about them. I don't have any info on them. William says, "I just paid $52 for some 180 grain Winchester 308 ammo. Couldn't believe it. haven't brought 308 for ages because I had a good stockpile. Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about there, mate. You know, like you've got to get ammo because the prices are going to continue. And what I'm finding now is a lot of the manufacturers every year they'll have one or two increases of between 10 and 20%. So, you know, and then combine that with the poor Australian dollar and the prices are just insane. I mean, for example, here on the farm, you know, like I really enjoy shooting rimfires. 22, yeah, look, it's gone up, but I tell you what, 22 Magnum is insane. Like, you know, that's gone up 70, 80%, you know, in the last, what, about, you know, 6 months to a year, I found. Just crazy prices. Okay, we'll go to another question here. Shane says, "Hi Aussie, I do a lot of spotlighting, and the only scope I find that focuses straight to the shoulder at night is my Vortex Diamondback. Would Loophole be a good scope for night shooting and spotlighting?" Well, mate, depending on how far you want to shoot and what it is you're going after, and it depends which model Loophole. I find them quite clear, but there is various grades to them. So if you went for, you know, one of their HD range, then, you know, I couldn't see why it wouldn't be a good scope. If you want to really spend some money, I mean, that's where Schmidt and Bender, Carlos, they all shine because their light transmission is just absolutely unbelievable. I had another friend recently, we were talking about that, and I encouraged him, you know, to get a Schmidt and Bender. I told him, stop being stingy and basically buy one, you'll never look back. And funnily enough, we were only talking about it this weekend gone by. And anyhow, yeah, sure enough, he was just saying the clarity on it has just spoiled him because, you know, you can just see so much. And especially in a hunting point of view, where you're shooting, you know, in those twilight hours. So, you know, dusk, dawn, you know, when there's really low light, that's when those optics really shine. But look, I wouldn't, you know, if you can't afford going up to that, I wouldn't be unhappy, so to speak, with a good Loophole. Okay, we'll go through a few more. People mentioning they don't get notified of the live streams. Yeah, surprise, surprise. It's just ridiculous, this, you know, like, you know, it's, I don't know, how can I put it? Like, the level of censorship that is going on in our world today, not just, you know, with firearms. It's like if you don't, I guess, follow the real left, so to speak, doesn't matter. I'm not talking about people being on the right. You can be up, down, whatever, indifferent. It doesn't matter. They don't care. Like they'll just censor you out. And this is an exact example of what's going on. So what I'll be doing, guys, like I said, is I'll be posting a lot more on X, or Twitter, as it was formerly known as, because there you can actually have your subscribers see everything that you post, and there's no censoring and all the other rubbish that these other platforms have got. So keep an eye out there. Okay, let's go through some more questions here. JLBU2, thoughts on the new Taipan X? Mate, well, I haven't used one, so until I use one, I'll reserve my thoughts on it till then. But yeah, I guess there was a lot of people with problems with the older model, wasn't there? So hopefully, yeah, hopefully that's fixed up. Griffo says, "How are you going now after surgery?" Well, mate, it's kind of funny because I feel relatively back to normal. You know, they have me on so many, they had me on steroids and protein and everything to get this weight back on because I was severely underweight. And you know, so that's all happened now. So now it's the I don't know, I wouldn't say long road, but I just got to start hitting the fitness again, which I've been doing, but just not as much as what I was doing prior to going down. So yeah, in general, mate, the health is pretty good. I've had a couple of appointments there with the specialist. They were a bit worried about the liver when I had an ultrasound on it, and then I had a scan of the lungs. The lungs are all good, but you know, it's a hell of a hit to the system. And I find that, you know, some days, like for example, you know, this morning I was reviewing, I was filming. So I was up at the crack of dawn doing that. I mean, I had the lights on doing the desktop part. That's how early it was, so I could get and do the shooting early. And then once I'd sort of finished up about lunchtime, I came back to the house, and then I was just so tired, you know, and I just put my head down for about half an hour, and then it piped me up for the rest of the day. So yeah, I find, you know, I get pretty tired, but then again, I burn the candle at both ends as well. I do push myself, you know. I'm doing a lot of farm work, and you know, I really try to condense as much as I can into the time that I've got. So yeah, mate, it's you know, it's taken a bit of a toll, so to speak, but I'm certainly on the road to recovery. And I don't have any wood around here, but touch wood that it stays that way. Okay, we'll keep going with the questions here. Okay, so Mitchell says, do you do any reloading, Aussie? And if so, what for? No, I don't. I guess one of the reasons is, well, time. You know, I don't really have the time to do it. And I'm very happy with a lot of, you know, hunting ammunition and even target ammunition that obviously is factory ammo. So for me, if I'm shooting, okay, if I'm shooting a rimfire and at 50 yards, I can get 5 or 10 shots into half an inch. I think to myself, well, you know, what more do I need with that? Now, I know you don't reload rimfire, but just bear with me. I'm getting to the point here. So very much the same as when I go to a centerfire, but obviously at 100 yards. So if I can shoot, you know, under an inch, I can put, you know, 3 shots, depending if it's a sporter or a varmint, or 5 shots, you know, into about that half inch at 100. I think to myself, like, what's the point of reloading? You know, because for me, my primary use is being here on the farm. So, you know, like for example, if I shoot a rabbit, you know, and there's the head, and I shoot here or here or here, what does it matter? Like, it's within half an inch, dead is dead. So I don't care about putting all that time into it. And very much the same if I then go out to extended, you know, distances there in a hunting situation. I mean, even at say 200, say for example, my shots are all around maybe say an inch at 200, okay, inch and a half maybe. Like, you know, it's pretty small. So if I'm shooting, say I'm going after a deer and I head shoot a deer, like, does it matter if those shots are all within an inch or an inch and a half, or you know what I'm saying? Like, so if I was reloading and really trying to get the best accuracy possible, does it matter if, you know, I'm shooting a quarter of an inch, for example, with a hunting scenario at those distances? So that's why I don't worry about it. On the flip side of it too, especially when it comes to anything official. So, for example, feral pest control, farming, everything to do with your insurances, you need to be covered. And part of a lot of that insurance is you won't get insured if something goes wrong with any reloads. Okay, that was another reason why I don't reload and I only use factory ammo. Okay, let's go through a few more here. Matt saying, notice cleavers prices have gone up considerably lately for ammo on most calibers. They're generally the cheapest. Absolutely, they are. And when you see their prices going up, you know something's going on. Okay. Okay, another one here. Hey, Aussie, have you heard about the federal registration for firearms and the recent whispers about national federal firearm reforms? Look, I have, and my gut feeling on it is something is in the wind, definitely. I think that I look, put it this way, I don't know how they're going to operate a national register efficiently, because let's be honest, and look, this isn't me being half smart and having a dig at weapons licensing. I'm just stating the facts. Now, when I got, for example, my 223, my Anschutz 223 that I had, so the 1770, it was on my license for a year. before it actually showed up on my registration list. So, if I was a person of ill intent, now I'm looking at this from a public safety point of view, right? So they're suggesting that we licensed shooters need to be monitored and restricted and everything has to be registered. So if I was of ill intent, I had that firearm on my license for a year and no one knew about it. You see what I mean? So this is where I think to myself, like, okay, how are they going to, if they can't just run the state registry up to date, how are they going to run a national register? Like, they would have to have a lot of staff to be able to do that. I personally, I don't know how they're going to do it. I mean, any of you guys, I'll put it out there. Like, any of you guys, if you've had firearm inspections at your house, if you've got a few firearms, are the lists up to date of what you've got to what the inspecting officer is? Because the majority of people that I've spoken to have all said it's so out of touch and so far behind. So I look at it, and that's where I say to myself, like, what's the point of registration if it can't be run efficiently? To me, it just defeats the purpose of it. So yeah, to answer your question, mate, I think something is definitely in the wind. Another question here. Neil, hi mate, do you reckon that the use of suppressors will ever be eased up? Seems New Zealand doesn't seem to have a big issue with them. This is what I find really crazy, hey, is the fact that we, being Australia, sent officials from our licensing division over to New Zealand to guide them on their new gun laws. Yet in New Zealand, you basically have Cat C freely available. So your semi-auto rimfires up to 10 rounds, semi-auto shotguns up to 5 rounds, freely available, and still suppressors, pretty much unrestricted over there. And I'm thinking, well, if we sent people over there and they see how that's working, then why not here? But I really think that it's like almost like they'd lose face if they have to admit that some ease of restrictions actually works if you've already got a license in place. So yeah, I think that, okay, I think here in Queensland, because there's obviously that big push and everything with what I covered there on the channel, I think that there will be an ease of restrictions in the sense of occupational shooters, because most of the other states, or virtually all of them, have that in place. So, excuse me, so Queensland, I believe, will follow suit because they won't want to be the odd one out, so to speak. And when you've got it from a workplace health and safety point of view, and a lot of support there for it, I can't see how it doesn't change. My personal view is I don't think you should even need a license for it. You should be able to simply walk into a sporting goods store, Kmart even, and purchase one, because what are you going to do with it unless you've got the firearm registered to use it with? Like, it's just a bit of steel. That's it. So, yeah, I think there will be a little bit of easing, but not to what we would all love to see. Question. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so Boar, is it Knock? Okay, I hope I'm saying that right. Just bought a Gen 2 rifle bag. I'm assuming. Cheers for the discount. No problem at all, mate. Like I said, we'll run this until midnight tonight. If you guys have just joined us, if you go to AussieReviews.com.au, we're doing a massive discount there on the last 14 Gen 2 rifle bags that I've got. So that'll be it then. William says here, do you use your handguns much for feral pest control? Or does that M4 of yours do most of the work around the farm? Okay, so have you guys, and I'll put this out there, have you guys been seeing my updates on the Australian gun law facts? I'm up to about number 6 now. If you haven't seen it on Instagram, Facebook, and X being Twitter, check it out, because I'm not having a go at anyone. All I'm doing is simply stating the facts on some of the laws that are in place currently here in Australia, mainly here in Queensland, but also, looking at other states as well. So in saying that, right, so, right, now this is me talking from my own experience as a licensed shooter. So occupational license, right, A, B, and C for the farm. For feral pest control, A, B, C, D, but also concealable license for category H for feral pest control. So even though I had my handguns for feral pest control, I still wouldn't be given it for primary production. They actually knocked me back on it. And they were citing that, it's only for very, very large properties because they changed the legislation, or sorry, not legislation, they changed their policy where it was a minimum of 500 acres to now it's a minimum of 5,000 acres. So they knocked me back on that, right? But the craziest thing about all of this is I could walk over the fence into a neighbor's property that was only, say, 40 acres. And provided they've hired me to do feral pest control, I can walk around all day long on that property with a handgun. But I can't on my own place because it's not in the interest of public safety. Does anyone understand that? I'll leave that up to you to decide. Okay, so next question I got here is Dominion. He says, "Hey mate, have you used the Sulinarms Taxosaurus, the one with the release under the trigger?" I've got one coming. Okay, so I finally got it. So yeah, I know. Look, I've been trying to organise it and everything for months, but the opportunity has come up now. So yes, I will be doing a full review of it there. So stay tuned. I should get that out this month. Okay, so yeah, that'll be very, very close to being the very next on the list. I have no idea who Matthew Lloyd is. Sorry. So John's saying, "I can't believe how much you sound like Matthew Lloyd." I have no idea who that is. Okay. Okay, so Six Knot says, "What are the best gun range clubs in and around Brisbane? I'm pretty green to the sport and have a 457 22 LR to start off with. Cheers." Well, mate, great choice of rifle there. You'll get a lot of years of use out of that. What ammo do you find it likes the most? I'm pretty keen to hear your thoughts there. Or have you just got the rifle and not tried it? If that's the case, Ely High Velocity is what I use through mine. It's more of a hunting one. But if you do want, something for use at the range, get yourself some SK Standard Plus. It's just target ammunition. Fairly cheap. It's not the cheapest, but it's certainly not the most expensive. And run that through your CZ. I'm pretty sure it'll really like it. As for clubs, okay, so I don't shoot at ranges, so you guys who are watching this can perhaps help out with this. Look, honestly, mate, in Brisbane, I mean, the main range is at Belmont, so you've got the SSAA and then you've got some other ranges in around Belmont. That's pretty much it. I don't know of any others really. If you guys can help him out, please comment. Okay, so Nash says, "Do you think you'll be doing a review on the T2000 push button shotgun?" Yes, mate, I do. I want to get around to that as well. William says here, "Question for everyone. If we are only allowed to own 5 guns, what would you have?" Okay. Now, what I might do is, I mean, I'll talk about, maybe from my own point of view here, if you want to hear that. For me, obviously, you'd have to have a 22 in there. So, I'd probably say like Ruger American or a CZ in 22. Probably a 22 Magnum, to be quite honest, as well. And then I would say a 223, a 308, and a 12 gauge. That would be the 5 for me. Yeah, that absolutely would cover everything that I would want to do. Okay, Mad Dog just jumped on. Any plans to review the new Winchester pump action centerfire? Um, Mate, more than happy to have a look at one. This is the situation though, guys. I'll be very blatantly honest with you here. A lot of the stuff I'm purchasing myself. Even if I then resell it after I've used it, there's a hit of a few $100s there as well. So at the moment, money is pretty tight for me. So I pretty much rely on people being able to lend me something. Obviously, people I know. I don't borrow things from people I don't know. Or I've just got to put aside a bit of money. And at the moment, I've got a few things going on personally where I need to put money into. But yeah, we'll see how we go there. But yes, would I like to review it? Definitely, I would like to do that. Tony says 9 bags left. Well, there you go. If you want to see me review more stuff, help me out a little bit there, guys, and I can obviously afford to buy more stuff. Okay. Shane says here, I had 5 on my license for 3 years before the registry even knew. That's exactly what I'm talking about, guys. You know, how are they going to run a national registry when our own state registry doesn't have up-to-date details? And that's nothing of our fault. We're just following their rules. But here we are, like, oops, sorry, I bumped that camera there. But here we are being punished for it, so to speak. I just don't get that. Um, So Shane says here, SSAA at Ripley near Ipswich. Now, Shane, can you perhaps answer me there? Are they closed? I was told that they were being closed down, or they are closed now. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't shoot at ranges, but if someone can answer that, that'd be interesting to, to yeah, to know about. Yeah, Mitchell Muzz, I didn't get the notification for this stream. But glad I bumped into it though. Got myself a nice new rifle bag for my T3X. Awesome, mate. I hope you enjoy it. What I'll do is if they all sell out tonight, which they most likely will, I'll get them sent off tomorrow. So by Wednesday at the very, very latest. Anthony Hawes just joined us. Hey Aussie, hello mate. How's things with you? Okay. Tom says here, how many kilograms of powder should I put in my 308 load for 155 grain projectile? Certainly not kilograms. It'll be grains. But if someone's into reloading, perhaps they can help him out. Liam says, seriously, what is the point of registration? It serves zero purpose other than taking stuff away. Exactly my belief, my view as well, mate. That's exactly, exactly what it is, because it's never been proven anywhere in the world to solve a crime. And what is the point if the details aren't up to date? I mean, shouldn't, for example, I just put this out here now, shouldn't you, if registration and licensing and everything was meant to be, a benchmark for public safety and not to put licensed shooters through hell just to enjoy their chosen sport or hobby, but why can't we have a real-time check? So, for example, we go into a dealer, we hand over our license, they enter it on the computer, and it comes back from the police, basically yes or no. So if there's a problem or some issue or something like that, it comes back as a no. Say, for example, a person has committed, some sort of offence, or they've been involved in a DV situation or something like that. But if there's none of that, then why can't a licensed shooter just purchase right then and there? Like, what's the issue? I don't see the point in PTAs. I mean, any of the amnesties has proven that. A lot of the amnesties that we've previously had, where you can take an unregistered firearm into a dealer and right then and there get it registered to your license and walk out with it again. So I don't see the point in PTAs either. So anyhow, okay. Okay, so Shane says SSAA Ripley open Friday to Monday. Okay, I had heard that it was closed. I don't know why people have said that, but anyhow, That's good. Um, Liam says here, like, how can it stop a gun being stolen? The gun's gone. It can't tell you where it is. You know, speaking of registration, correct. And most likely, you'd probably find if someone stole your firearm, probably one of the first things they'll do is probably get rid of the serial number off there anyway. Asha says, what do you think about Arken scopes? Never even heard of them, sorry. Where are they made? That'd be the first thing I would ask about it. Because a lot of scopes these days, guys, you know, and especially when you see a lot of new scope brands come onto the market or ones that you haven't heard from before, like have a look because a lot of them are Chinese or Filipino made and they're just relabeled and they're very, very similar to other brands out there. For me personally, my benchmark is Japanese made scope. You know, from there, American made, European made. Under that, I'm not a fan of personally. Neil says here, I used to love going to Kmart when I was a kid and buying some ammo and admire the guns for sale, etc. Me too. I remember I used to get my 22 Magnum and 22 LR ammo there. Kmart used to always have, you know, Bentleys, like the shotguns, semi-autos, and also pump shotguns for sale there. And yeah, that was it. You pretty much just went through the register there, showed your driver license, and out the door you went. That was it. So, okay, what else have we got here? Okay, so Mitchell says here, I got a 3030 model 93 registered in an amnesty and I had it for 2 years. And when the cops came for a safe inspection, it wasn't even registered properly for whatever the reason. There you go. There's another example of my point of how the records are not up to date. So how is a national register going to work? I'd be interested to hear that. Shane says here, hey mate, I'm considering going through and buying bulk ammo at the moment to insulate from the price increase. Do you know anyone selling bulk packs of 6.5 Creedmoor? I have 9mm, 223 and 22 LR covered. No, I don't, mate. I'm not sure where you're located, but here in Queensland or southeast Queensland, we're pretty fortunate. We can go into Cleavers because they seem to be one of the, if not the cheapest for ammo. Um, but look, in saying that, don't discount your local dealer either. You know, if you want to go and buy a bulk amount of it, then by all means, you know, give them an opportunity to come to the table with a good price. Liam, I wish there was a store in Australia similar to Pro Bass. I think you mean Bass Pro stores like the US. Yes. Uh, any of you guys been to the US and seen that? It's really a sight to be seen. You know, Bass Pro is like kind of like the size of Bunnings, if not bigger. And you know, you go in the firearm section, just the counter is as far as the eye can see, just all with handguns. Yeah, and then the rifles are up behind the wall behind that. And I mean, they've even got a Ruger 1022 aisle. So you go down there, there's all your, you know, scary 25 round magazines and, you know, all your chassis kits and, you know, all that like really cool stuff that people love doing to their Ruger 1022s. But an actual aisle dedicated to it. It's really cool. You know, and then they've got like these massive you know, fish tanks where you know, you can even try out lures and that and catch the fish in there. It's insane. And then they've got like a boating section, so you can buy all new boats. And then there's like ATVs, UTVs, like there's all a whole range of that. And then you've got clothing. There's a restaurant in there. It's really something to be seen. So if any of you guys go over to the States, I highly recommend you go into a Bass Pro store because well, I don't know, it'll probably make you sick with envy, but it's certainly a great experience doing that. Um, Okay, so Jordan says, hey mate, can you please explain how this national registry is going to work? Well, look, that's my argument, mate. I don't know how it's going to work. I haven't seen any of the details on it, but yeah, I don't see how it's going to work until they can efficiently run a state registry. I mean, if all these people are complaining about the records not being up to date, well, how are those records going to be up to date on a national registry? Because all that stuff is going to have to be updated from the state registry. So if they're already behind, how's that going to work? I mean, I'm open to hear suggestions. I don't know how. Um, Okay, so people talking about 243 here. So, all right. So Aussie Bang Sticks has said, is 243 God's caliber, or do you mean a good caliber? I'm not too sure, but anyhow, like 243, I'll discuss that. That was that was a caliber that I had when I was just a kid basically. And I find the 243 is a very versatile caliber in the sense of, you can, if you're into reloading, I mean, you can go right down, I think it's about 50, 55 grain and then go up to 100. I think with some of the match projectiles, I think it's up to 107, 110 grain, somewhere there. But for general hunting and factory ammo, you've got a lot of different variety. I mean, when I reviewed, what was it? I reviewed the 243 Lithgow, and that shot really well. That did so well, that rifle, and even the Ruger American in 243. I mean, it put that OSA Game King 100 grain ammo, 3 shots into half an inch at 100. So once again, that's what I talk about with what my level of accuracy is, and yeah, it's just a really good caliber in general. I find it's really good. Okay, so Matt White says here, the Seiko triggers, they have standard and set trigger. What is your preference and recommendation? Okay, so the Seiko 85 that I had in 223, now that was my own. I purchased that one. That had a set trigger. So what it means is when you've got obviously the trigger blade coming down out of the action there, what it means is you can push that blade forward and you'll hear a click, okay, and it sets basically. And it's a very, very light trigger pull from that point on, okay. So I think, I don't know, this is just going off the top of my head, I think it's like a pound, something like that, maybe 1.5, something like that. It's very, very light, put it that way. So great if you're going to take a finer shot, or perhaps you might use your rifle for a little bit of hunting, but then you might want to go to the range and have a bit of fun in some competitions or something. So you could use that set trigger to take that finer shot. So my preference is definitely, I mean, I think, I don't know, off the top of my head, I think a couple of $100 more to have the set trigger. I would like that option if I was going to pay that amount of money for such a nice rifle. Okay, have I heard of the 8.6 Blackout? Yeah, I think I have. Yes. I saw a video on it. I didn't think much more of it other than that, because I thought, okay, is it even going to be available here in Australia? Is it going to take off? Okay, so Mitchell has asked again. He says, do you have a favorite brand of firearm for bolt action rifles specifically? Look, mate, I did in my beginner basics series, I talk about different brands there on choosing the correct centerfire rifle. So if you guys haven't seen that, please do have a look at it. It's still very relevant to this day, even though I did it a few years ago. It really comes down to what your budget is. I mean, for me, like the entry level, like if you want to get something that just works, and it's not going to break the bank, so to speak, get yourself a Ruger American. If you can then afford it, and then we're talking centerfire here, I would go to Tikka. If you got a Tikka, you're going to have a rifle that is guaranteed to shoot sub MOA with decent ammo. They're at 100 and ultra smooth action. Beautiful, beautiful rifles. They just will not let you down. I haven't met anyone who has a Tikka that doesn't shoot. Every single one of my friends and people that I know who have got them absolutely swear by them and love them. So that would be sort of my next step up from there. What would be my favorite in the centerfire range? I mean, look, I actually sold my Seiko 85 to buy the Anschutz 1770, it was the 223. So, and a lot of people were like, oh my God, why did you sell that? And because not many people had the Anschutz at that time. And I just wanted to, be able to, have one. And I couldn't afford both rifles. So, Anschutz is definitely up there. I've got a very soft spot for that, but I very much love Seiko rifles as well. I do like high quality. I like precision. There's just something about those rifles. Can you shoot just as well with a lot of the Tikkas? Yeah, you probably can. Even the Rugers on some occasions I've been able to shoot very well that would give a lot of more expensive rifles a run for their money. So I usually look at that sort of thing. They're the sort of 3 or 4 brands that I mainly focus on personally if I'm going to buy a rifle. In saying that, though, I'm happy to look at all different brands. If I'm looking on the rimfire range, very similar. So, Ruger American, can't go past it. I've never had one yet that doesn't work. If you want to spend a little bit more money, a CZ. You're just not going to go wrong with the CZ rimfire. They are just brilliant. Then, if you're into a little bit of range shooting, the Lithgow, I had no issues with them. Only thing is, though, with the Lithgow, they are heavy. Okay, so I would recommend it more for the range, or if you're not doing a lot of walking around on property. And then, if you want to go up from there, I mean, Anschutz, once again, I've got a soft spot, for that in the rimfire range, especially. So that'd probably be my recommendations from there. Okay, so guys, we'll start wrapping up soon, but if there's a couple other questions, I'll go through a few here. So Rob MC, he says, hey Aussie, back to suppressors. Could an establishment like SSAA Belmont run a test period running suppressors on 223s and up as a safety program and noise reduction to show their benefit? Well, yes, they could, but legally they can't. Because here in Queensland, a suppressor is categorized as category R, which means it's in with full auto machine guns and military grade weapons. Like how or why it's in that category is beyond me. It just absolutely bamboozles me, that one. But the SSAA, for years have had constant noise complaints from people in that general area. So, if you've got noise complaints and everything, well, I think they should be jumping on the back of any sort of, activism to try to get rid of suppressors out of that category and just bring it back to a freely available category. I mean, let's be honest, you can't do anything with a suppressor unless you've got the firearm. So that would be the hold up there. Okay. All right, guys. So look, anyone who's just joined, I will say it again. If you do go to AussieReviews.com.au and go to merchandise, we've got a run out sale on the last of the 14 Aussie Reviews Gen 2 rifle bags. It's only going to be until midnight tonight, Queensland time. Big discounts there, so go and have a look. All right, so Okay, do you need do suppressors need to use subsonic ammunition to be useful? Okay, let me answer that one. Most effective, yes. The short answer, yes. Although if you're using high velocity ammunition through a suppressor, it just takes that loud boom away, and it makes it so much more comfortable to shoot with. You still get a crack as such because it's just physics. You can't have that projectile cracking the sound barrier without the associated crack with it. But just all that blast that goes along with the normal shot is significantly reduced. If you're using subsonic ammunition, then yes, it is drastically reduced. What would I say it would be very equivalent to? So if you've got like a 9mm or 45, a lot of those are subsonic, and you put them through a suppressor, then it basically brings it back to like a standard velocity 22 LR. So this nonsense of, it's basically zoop, zoop, like they portray on movies. It couldn't be further from the truth. So, if any of the politicians, try to sell you that and say that's the reason why they shouldn't be legal, then put it back on them, because that's not true at all. It doesn't suppress it to that amount. And what you've got to remember, doesn't matter what caliber is. Well, if it's subsonic, well, what's your real range with that subsonic load anyway? So it's not like someone's going to be shooting out of the kilometer with subsonic loads, and no one could possibly hear a thing. So yeah. Anyhow, it's just ridiculous in my view. So. All right, guys. Well, look, we'll finish up the Q&A there. What did I have? Sorry, I did have one other thing I was going to touch on. Sorry, so keep an eye out for the Taxaurus lever release shotgun review. I haven't got the shotgun yet, waiting for permits, so we'll see how long that takes. The CZ457 synthetic in 22 LR, that review should be out this month. And I've also got one of the Pulsar actual clip-on thermals where you can actually clip it onto your normal day optic. So I'll be doing a full review of that. Really looking forward to seeing what I can basically achieve with that and see. So yeah, keep an eye out, guys. I've got a lot of things planned, but please remember, I'm not being sponsored by companies, so the ammo prices are going through the roof. And on most of the reviews, I'm purchasing the firearms myself as well. So that does go up. So every little bit helps. So if you are able to help out on Patreon, or you want to be able to just buy something off my merch page, or even just make a donation, I appreciate the hell out of it. If you can't, hey, you can't. I don't push people for it, but if you can help, I do really appreciate it, guys, because the more help I get, or the more I can purchase and get things reviewed and done. So that's about it, guys. Really appreciate, really appreciate the support. And please just keep an eye on that subscription on YouTube, because I've noticed since I've been saying it, my subscription rate is going up again. But yeah, YouTube are coming along every month and they just cull about 1,000 to 1,500 subscribers. So I tell you, it's very frustrating when you put in a lot of hard work, that's for sure. All right, guys, we'll leave it at that. Yeah, I can't really say much more about everything that's going on. You're up to date with everything that is happening here at Aussie Reviews. Thank you again for all your support, and we'll catch you on the next review.